Find a parking spot this morning, so he'll be a few minutes late. So I'm going to go ahead and get the meeting started. First of all, I want you to notice that everybody up here now has these little screens in front of us. Most of the other ones are a lot better at these than I am, so bear with us a little bit if we get a little mixed up, and we'll move forward. So call the Board of Supervisors meeting of July 15th, 2014 to order. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Peter, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is oral communication. Anyone may speak on any item that is not on the printed agenda. Please come forward.
Greetings. My name's Paul McNall, constituent Tuolumne County, and I would like to mine the remaining $40 billion worth of gold at the Jamestown mine. Part of my mining plan includes mitigation of the Harvard Pit Lake. I would like to take and purify the water and sell it as Gold Rush drinking water, which would get rid of the water. We'd have to run it through a reverse osmosis process and then bottle it. That's just one of my plans. Another one is to reprocess the tailings piles, which allegedly there's $100 million worth of gold in it, which would be the seed money to buy the reverse osmosis plant and the bottling plant. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Vicki Helmar, Agricultural Commissioner. I have just given you the 2013 Tuolumne County Crop and Livestock Report. I am pleased to announce that for a fourth consecutive year, Tuolumne County's agricultural production has increased. The gross value for all commodities rose $6,350,000 to an estimated value of $36,327,000. This is 21.2% higher than the 2012 value of $29,968,000. Two major environmental events, the devastating rim fire in the summer of 2013 and a second year of drought, played a significant role in Tuolumne County's production values and resulted in both positive and negative impacts for 2013. Almost the entire 21.2% gain in production values is attributed to the increase in timber receipts. The category total of $13,764,000 is an 85.4% jump from 2012. The intense salvage of timber on forest land after the rim fire more than doubled the number of board feet harvested from the previous year. Livestock and poultry production values were mixed. A second year of drought, coupled with the loss of livestock in the rim fire, impacted cattle and calf production, with the producers experiencing a $1 million loss. The lack of rangeland feed forced producers to begin reducing their herds, resulting in fewer calves produced. These calves were sold earlier and at lighter weights. However, $500,000 of this loss was offset by the rise in turkey values due to higher prices and increased production. Despite the 43% loss in rangeland forage production due to drought conditions, the value of rangeland actually rose 11%. The high cost of feed, its short supply, and the thousands of acres of summer range destroyed in the rim fire drove the lease rate of available rangeland to well over $18 per acre. An increase in the number of small egg producers and the demand for manure as compost resulted in a 52% increase in livestock and poultry products. And both the fruit and vegetable and the apiary categories dipped only slightly for a combined loss of $24,500. This is just a quick summary of our 2013 crop and livestock report, and the full report can be found on our webpage.
Any questions for Ms. Hilmar? I do have one. What is the long-term effect as far as the cattle industry is?
The long-term effect is still not determined at this time because we are in the third year of the drought, and we are continuing to have our producers having to sell off their herds. Even if the drought would end tomorrow, it would take them several years to rebuild their herds. So I'm anticipating that we will see continued cattle and calf prices values drop. And the thing you need to remember about the crop report are these are only gross values. So when I report a value, that's their net. That's their gross value. That doesn't include all the costs of production that our farmers have suffered because of increased supplemental feed, cost associated with hauling and water. All those costs are not included in that. That is not a net return. So I anticipate that future values will continue to decline.
Right, thank you.
And Vicki, this is voluntary. The reporting is voluntary, correct?
The reporting is voluntary. It's mandatory that the Ag Commissioner produce a report every year, but reporting is voluntary and it is confidential. So we try to get the word out to our folks that they can give us their numbers, but it is confidential and we do not report producer by producer.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Would anybody else out there like to speak? Seeing no one.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would like the board to consider adding an item to the agenda. It rose subsequent to the posting of the agenda, was received via email on Friday. We didn't see it until yesterday. The item would be consideration of approving a resolution designating the Tuolumne County Arts Alliance as the official county arts council and state local partner in order to be eligible to receive state grant funding. The urgency is that they have a grant that will be considered by a review panel on July 21st, so there's not a next meeting that we could bring this to you. It's about a $12,000 item to the Arts Council potentially.
Mr. Chairman, I move we add that to the agenda because it came up late and it is of sufficient urgency to warrant being
A
added.
second.
First and second, any public comment? Item number 7A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That'll be item number 7A. Would the clerk please read the consent calendar?
Minutes of the meeting held June 10th and June 17th, 2014, adopting a resolution rescinding Resolution 5512 and adopting the Conflict of Interest Code for county and local governmental agencies, approving the amendment to the Conflict of Interest Code for the Probation Department in Sonora Union High School District, accepting a notice of completion for the Special District Maintenance Project Contract 1653, accepting the resignation of James Garavente from the Tuolumne County Planning Commission, and directing the clerk to send a letter of appreciation and post a notice of vacancy. Approve the reappointment of Donna Mays, Chantel Fowler, Emily Laird, Holly Hutchins, and Mike Spear to the Tuolumne County Local Child Care and Development Planning Council, and approving the appointment of John Leamy and Willow Thorpe to the Tuolumne County Behavioral Health Advisory Board.
Thank you. Is there any board member who'd like to remove anything from the consent calendar? Any public comment on the consent calendar? Okay, I look for a motion.
I move on the consent calendar.
Second.
First and second. Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Next item, please.
Item number 7A was the non-agenda item. It's consideration of adopting a resolution designating the Tuolumne County Arts Council as the official county arts council and state local partner in order to be eligible to receive state grant funding.
Thank you. We'll let Supervisor Royce get plugged in here, and then I'll turn the meeting over to him.
Would you like me to do a staff report?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, Chairman's
Thanks,
getting set up. As I mentioned, in order for the Arts Council to be eligible for certain types of grants, specifically from the California Arts Council, They need a resolution from your board that would designate them as the official county arts council and state local partner for such grants. They have already prepared a grant application that does pursue $12,000 from the California Arts Council. Having a resolution is something missing in their packet right now. This is something that your board has customarily extended to them for the past several years. Usually appears on your consent calendar. But given that it was added as a late agenda item, we're hearing it now on the regular agenda. So included in the packet that was provided to you is a very brief resolution consistent with what we've done in past years, and it's staff's recommendation that you go ahead and approve that resolution.
Okay. Questions? Public comment? Bring it back for a motion.
Move on staff recommendation.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Rutherford, second from Gray. Call for a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay. 8? Okay. Thank you.
Consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C.
Staff report.
Good morning. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office and OES Coordinator. This item before you, your board has been reviewing each month since February 4th. It is once again time to review that, and the reason you're looking at this 2 board meetings in a row is we did not have we had less than or more than 30 days between the last time you renewed on July 1st and when we would bring it again in August. So I am seeking your approval to continue the local state of emergency. In the meantime, some actions that we have been taking locally, we do have another drought task force meeting for all of our local water districts and agencies. That is this Thursday at the EOC. We have had good participation, and we continue, both myself, Rob Kostlevy, and others within county staff to support those water agencies and to continue to hook them and coordinate with them with all of the other resources that are available, such as Tuolumne Utilities District, Twain Harte Community Services District, and Groveland Community Services District have all been approved funding through the California Drinking Water Program for each of the issues or some of the issues that they're dealing with related to the drought. Continue to have weekly calls with Cal OES. Cal OES, as we have already told your board before, they continue to be a huge support for us, and we're very thankful that they continue to play such an active role in what we're all dealing with here. One of the main concerns that we have as we go forward is and private well owners. And if Robert Kostlevy, our Environmental Health Director, has relayed that we've had triple the number of well permits come in, and about 20% of those are related to those domestic wells going dry. So what they're working with the local drillers to come in and do is either deepen or drill new wells for them. So putting this out there for anyone who's listening and watching, that if you are experiencing these types of problems, or if anyone else you know are experiencing these problems, please call our office. We will do the best that we can to get support and resources to you should you be experiencing anything related to your water decreasing, the quality of your water, or needing someone to come in and help drill, as we are seeing a 3-month waiting period for those services to be made available. They're really, really busy. So it's possible that we could reach out to the state should this continue as we go through July, August, and September to see if we can bring in resources from other areas within the state. I am told from our counterparts that San Joaquin is experiencing the same exact type of issues that we are experiencing up here in relation to wells. And then finally, Tuolumne Utilities District did relay that in June that they did see 51% conservation, or their usage is down that much in June. So everything that all of us have been doing, them in particular, is really paying off for all the customers in this area. And we continue to work with OES to ensure that we will have water throughout the rest of the year for their customers. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
I think we had a rather significant event on Friday. I was unable to attend, but the state water drought task force met here. Could you kind of provide some kind of a thumbnail summary of that event?
Yes, absolutely. So on Friday we did host, Tuolumne County hosted the Governor's State Drought Task Force, and that included, we had the OES, the Office of Emergency Services for California, the Director, Mark Ghilarducci. We had the Undersecretary for USDA.
there was social services secretary. So each of these department heads at the state level were here to relay what they're dealing with statewide, actions that they're taking. We also had an hour to sit with them with Groveland Community Services District, Twain Harte Community Services District, and TUD, in which they got to do another presentation directly to the group as to what are they currently experiencing, what actions are they taking, and where and what do they need as they go forward. We did have participation from most of our own county staff and departments so that they could interact with those individuals, but we also had San Joaquin was up here, and I think Inyo County came up. And I'm trying to think if there was...
Mono County was here. I know others have been invited, but it was a long distance for them to come, and actually the notice came fairly late.
We had great, there were over 50 individuals participating in the meeting. It was well attended.
I'll just add, in the first session, it was great because a lot of what we've been doing the last several months is just meeting with people at the federal, state, and local level, regional and local level, just trying to educate people on what our system is, what our concerns were, and that's been working really well. I think all that body work, if you will, kind of culminated at this meeting. It was great. Whatever brings it to a head is a good thing, because one of the concerns that we had, there was a couple of major concerns we had about the Pinecrest Lake level variance, and has been reported now. We have been approved for that variance. That's very important to us, and that's
2 feet? Or
2 feet from the 5608 to the 5606. I haven't seen the letter, yet, but we'd also requested some flexibility if necessary to take it down to 5604 based on certain benchmarks if they were met. But again, I haven't seen the letter, so I don't know what it says. The other thing had to do with state funding for response costs from the local agencies, particularly TUD, Twain Harte Community Service District, and GCSD. And we did have notice through the public health side grants were all being extended to those agencies. The biggest area that we still have concern about is with Groveland Community Service District. They're still looking for about $700,000. They're trying to get through the IRWIM, but that process will still take several weeks. And everyone seemed to understand their need, and people were putting their thinking caps on to see if there's some way to get them the money that they need so they could get moving with the new treatment plant that they require. They were generally impressed with that we'd been as proactive in our planning and action as we had been, not only with our large players, but we mentioned the 138 small water systems and the task force that we've had on that. And they were particularly concerned, as we have been all along, and your board has been all along, with private well owners. Not to blow this off. This is serious. It's coming on the heels of several years of drought, and it's a threat to groundwater. And it hasn't been just us talking about this locally, but they were very concerned about the potential impacts in this county as well as throughout the state. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question, we did have a couple board members there. The chairman and the vice chairman. But this was a significant event for a couple of reasons. One, Tuolumne County a lot of times gets lost in the political landscape, population-wise, and the fact that we're rural. And the fact that these state leaders came here, I think, is very, very significant. It is a testament to not only the severity of the drought statewide, but also the special severity that we're going through right now in the county. I also think, and Craig Pedro almost alluded to it, but I want the citizens in this county to know the tremendous amount of coordination across the county with all the various players in the water industry in this county that has gone on to deal with the consequences of this drought. And I think it's, again, another success story of Tuolumne County coming together. We need to continue to do that. We need to pass this resolution to continue the state of emergency, because the emergency still exists, and it's going to exist through the end of the summer at least, depending on when the first rains come. Hopefully they come, and come early, and come hugely, but I just wanted the citizens to know that this event did take place. I know it was in the newspaper, but not everybody reads it. And I did want to share that people that are in leadership positions in this county are working very hard to get us through this successfully. And I want to thank Ms. Riggs for leading that effort as our OES coordinator. Thank you.
I did attend a meeting, and I left with the feeling that the task force really cares about what they're doing. They're sincere. They're willing to work with you, and having them here in Tuolumne County, I think was a very good thing. They did see that we are engaged and are working on our problems, but we do need help. So I'm real thankful that they did come, and I think the outcome of that meeting is going to be seen later down the line. Thank you.
And I would agree, and I would just add, I also attended, I would add that there was a real attitude of getting things done throughout all the different agencies, putting, bureaucratic red tape aside to get to, solutions. So that was encouraging. And the other thing, just in general, which you kind of talked about, the fact that we had the attention of these people was really important, and they got to observe firsthand the situation, the water situation in Tuolumne County. And we talked about short-term issues and how we're dealing with those initially pretty extensively, and then we got into a discussion towards the end more about long-term effects and just the fact that Tuolumne County is conserving 50 to 60% when other counties and areas within the state are conserving 5% shows how important it is to secure a better supply of water for Tuolumne County. So I think that really got emphasized, and I was encouraged by it.
Just a couple of comments, lest people think that the measures that are being taken, like the State Water Resources Control Board allowing us to draw down on Pinecrest a little bit, we need every bit of water, and we need to continue to conserve. I haven't talked to Supervisor Farinelli of Merced County in the last couple of weeks, but on June 23rd, he told me that a second water entity in their county went dry, and they have 8 more they think will go dry by August. The water shortage is widespread, and it can affect us, and we need to encourage everybody to continue to do this. The other one is we need to remind ourselves that the fire season is in peak demand, if you will. It has been for some time early this year, and we've had some recent fires, and fires require water to suppress them. Water is the most important commodity. We need to stay on it and not relax.
Anything else? Public comment?
Good morning. Ron Ringen, county resident. In yesterday's Union Democrat, I want to quote a couple things in here. I think it's great that we got that relaxation of the couple of feet of Pinecrest, but I'm really concerned that we're missing the boat here, or at least TUD is. It says here, Sasha said that the state board's approval will likely require TUD to maintain a 25% reduction over the previous year's water usage. And then in another area, it says, even if we get to take the water out of Pinecrest, we still need to diversify our portfolio. That's Tom Sasha again. Both things I totally agree with. In the TUD on Tap newsletter, it was May, June, so this would be the current board at TUD. It says, The TUD Board of Directors and management are committed to pursuing a supply of water from New Maloney's to cost-effectively serve the needs of current and future customers. So, where am I going with this? I understand, I'm trying to verify it, that it was reported at that meeting on Friday that TUD has no intention of extending the pickups for those pumps that are down in Maloney's. And they do not want to buy the water. I do not understand if we're going to try and expand our portfolio of water sources. If we don't do that, right now we have a legal straw in there through, thank God, the Chicken Ranch Band of Miwoks. They went to a lot of work to put that deal together. And they're selling it to TUD at the very same rate that they're getting it, $200 an acre foot. At the last board meeting, there was a big conversation amongst the TUD board and the staff about selling water through arrangement through PG&E to Del Oro Water Company up there in Pinecrest area, Strawberry. And TUD is going to sell that water for $500 an acre foot. So the $200, it can't be a money thing, because $200 is, I mean, that's, in today's rates, that's a giveaway. So how can, this is what really concerns me, for our local economy, ag, business, and for the builders and developers, how in the world can TUD issue a will serve notice if the TUD ratepayers are on 50% or 25% cutback on their water use? I don't get it. Those pumps need to be extended down in that lake, and they need to start pulling that water out of there. Otherwise, I just don't know where this is all going to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Bring it back to the board for action.
Yeah, I move that we approve the resolution extending the drought emergency.
Second.
Motion from Rutherford, second from Hanveld. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Okay. Could the clerk please read 9?
Consideration of adopting a resolution accepting the funding for the Emergency Management Program Grant and Homeland Security's Grant Program.
Staff report.
All right, good morning. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office and OES Coordinator. This is a grant. Both of these grants are grants that your board has approved to receive each year. The EMPG grant, we have worked within the parameters of that funding for 16 years and Homeland Security for 10 years now. Each of these grants have very similar types of requirements for usage of these funds. However, there are some differences in how we are allowed to allocate those funds. EMPG, as I had indicated in your board memo, is something we've used to keep the EOC operational. It pays for all of their communications, pays for part of power, pays for our emergency notification system. It also helps to reimburse for dedicated staff time that is spent directly on emergency services. However, the Homeland Security grant is a little bit different in that it does require that we have an anti-terrorism approval body. And that is comprised of, as it is listed in your memo, the county public health officer, the county fire chief, a municipal fire chief, the county sheriff, and the city of Sonora. It's actually a local police chief, and since we only have one, that goes to Chief Stinson. So this group does come together each year. 25% of this grant must be allocated for law enforcement, and each year our county sheriff's department and the city of police, they split that allocation. And then the remaining of the funds is how those will be allocated is decided upon by that body that I just described. So this year they once again decided that they would make safety and communication equipment the priority for the grant funds. And as I indicated in the memo, the emergency management grant is $136,497, and the Homeland Security grant is $130,741. The Homeland Security grant actually did increase substantially this year by a little over 30,000, so that was great, and that gave this body a little more flexibility in how they would apply that funding. And for the first time this year, this group took an amount and allocated it evenly amongst all fire districts within the county. And I can tell you that the local fire districts are so excited and so thankful for that. And with that being said, I am requesting that you would approve the attached resolution that would approve and accept the funding and allow for staff within the county administrator's office to sign any grant-related documents.
Thank you. Questions? Public comment? Bring it back for action.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board adopt a universal resolution accepting the fundings for the Emergency Management Program grant and Homeland Security grant.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion second. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Okay. Could the clerk please read item 10?
Consideration of approving correspondence to rural county representatives of California encouraging action on the independent science and report of the Herger Feinstein Quincy Library Group Forest Recovery Act.
Thank you. Morning, Daniel.
Morning. Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. Back in 1998, a federal bill was adopted providing what's called the Quincy Library Group some funding that allowed them to promote healthy forest practices. And it was to also help the local economy in that area. That group has since ceased their operations, and so they decided to do a study to see what was the outcome, why were they successful or not successful. And so the study was recently released, and the study was brought to the Natural Resources Committee, and the committee decided that it would be appropriate to send a letter to RCRC providing feedback on what were the results of this study. So what were those results? It was unfortunate, but the most significant outcome was the inability to meet expectations for supplying wood to the local mills. In reality, many of the timber harvests were met with lawsuits that did not allow them to move forward. In reality, the lumber was actually reduced. They started with 5 lumber mills when they began this project. They're now down to 1 in the area. So the local economy did not gain steam as a result of this Quincy Library operation. So what's in the letter before you today? We thought it was important that these findings be reviewed, that we need to promote healthy forests, and that we somehow allow a public process which does allow for appropriate public comment, but that tries to avoid the lengthy lawsuits and disallow appropriate timber harvesting to occur. So there's a letter for your consideration.
Questions? Public comment? Bring it back to the board.
I have one. In the last sentence on the letter, I would just like to add, you list a few things, Daniel, significant impacts on rural economies, air quality. I'd like to add water availability.
Very good. I see nodding heads. That's
Mr. Richardson, I sent you a number of comments on not only the letter but the whole concept. Quincy Library Group got just mired in process and got really very little done. Huge disappointment. This we have seen is a public safety issue. I mean, all you got to do is look at what happened at Rimfire. That's going to happen again. Anybody who doesn't think that that's going to happen again isn't paying attention. We are not harvesting our forest at a level. We are not cleaning our forest at a level it needs to be done. Shelley Crook from the U.S. Forest Service, Stanislaus National Forest, did a report at YSS meeting before last, and her reports on effectiveness of treatment on the Stanislaus and the footprint of Rimfire made an observation. First of all, she said, like this is a big surprise, but she said we did comprehensive treatment ground fuels, ladder fuels, and canopy reduction, it worked and kept the fire on the ground like it's supposed to. But we need to do more of it. She said we do 4,000 to 8,000 acres a year now on the Stanislaus, and we need to be doing 50,000 to 100,000 a year on the Stanislaus, and that we need to redo those same areas at least every 10 years because they're ripe for fire again. And I agree, it's a water issue, it's an environmental disaster because, I mean, we put millions of cars worth of pollutants into the atmosphere. I think we need to strengthen our position and be very strong about this and give them the data that makes sense. It impacts water, it impacts wildlife, it impacts public safety and recreation, and we could be making money with this by using it as timber. So I just think the letter needs to be stronger than it is. Thanks.
So do you want to postpone it and work on it a little bit, or what do you want to do?
Well, I think yeah, I would. If we can do it. I mean, a letter's better than not a letter, but I think we need to emphasize the comprehensive nature of good forest management. And there are no losers if we do this right. The wildlife wins, the economy wins, the recreation wins, the water wins, the forest wins in the game. So I just think it needs to be strengthened. Thanks.
Okay.
I agree with Supervisor Hanvelt that it needs to be strengthened. I also believe that we ought to also send a letter to the WIR in NACO. I think that it will gain a great deal of support and traction there.
Okay. Let's do this and let's bring it back after lunch. And maybe you two guys can get with Daniel and make some suggestions.
Okay.
Does that work, Daniel?
Works for me, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Could the clerk please read 11?
Consideration of approving correspondence to Tridam to support creating a non-motorized boating zone in a portion of the Green Springs arm of Lake Tulloch.
Morning, Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. This is the second time we brought this item before you. The Tridam is moving through the end of a FERC process, and part of that process included to study potential areas for wildlife protection zones where motorized boating may be prohibited or reduced to 5 miles per hour. So they had Tridam hired a consultant who studied potential areas, and one of those is called the Green Springs Arm on Lake Tulloch. And so that is within Tuolumne County. This item was brought to, this is the Natural Resources Committee, and the Natural Resources Committee considered it a couple times. We had the landowner present as well as Tridam's representative, Susan Larson, and ultimately the committee felt to only reduce a non-motorized zone to the furthest southwest portion of the Green Springs Arm, and the larger cove to leave that as a 5 mile per hour zone as it currently sits. And so we have a letter which expresses the Natural Resources Committee desires, and that's where it sat after our last Natural Resources Committee, unless you have additional thoughts at this point.
Questions?
Just real quick, my understanding is to implement this, we would be passing an ordinance at some point in the future. Is that the case?
I believe that's how we changed mile per hour areas.
Okay,
on
so
Lake
we're
Tulloch.
sending this letter to Tridam to inform them of our intent to pass such an ordinance, right?
Yes, and then I'll work with Susan Larson to make sure that if they have any other processes we need to move through.
Okay.
They may not, I'm not sure.
Public comment? Bring it back to board for motion.
I move on staff recommendation that we approve the letter to be sent to Tridam.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Rutherford, second from Brennan. Call for
Discussion,
question.
that letter is to be sent to the FERC's licensing board, not to Tridam. Is that correct on the letterhead?
Tridam.
Okay. just
Okay.
looking at the letter. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'd like to ask the sheriff what he views the cost and perhaps extra effort to enforce such an ordinance when we pass it.
Millions.
This is what happens when you're not paying attention in class. It always happens to me. So we're talking about an ordinance on
Well, this is
bringing.
this is the Trident proposal to put a 5-mile-per-hour limit down there on Tulloch, but inside Tuolumne County.
No.
And I assume that you will be the guy enforcing that, you and the boat patrol.
Let me
That's
clarify.
Calaveras.
The letter, there's already a 5-mile-an-hour limit there.
Sorry, it's a no
What-
motorized.
It is a no motorized area in the finger in the south end of the Green Springs Creek.
Well, without talking with.
My immediate reaction, Mr. Sheriff, is how do you enforce it if you can't run in there with a motorized boat?
Well, our
I think the sheriff.
we
You'd
share
be
the
exempt.
we share the responsibility obviously with Calaveras, and you know, if you're asking to basically cut down another access, you're saying no access, no motorized, correct? It would increase patrolling. It would take us away from the main part of the lake. So there would be an impact. To what extent, I don't know.
Could you look at that before we do an ordinance so we can, I mean, I'd just like to have a feel for how much
Yes,
extra effort it's
yes.
going to be for you.
Yes, sir. We will do that.
We
And
need
I
to
will
include that in
Pay
your
attention
budget.
from now on when I'm in the back of the classroom.
Sure. Thank you, Sheriff.
And so for clarification, because this item was part of the discussion at the time we looked at this, it was enforcement and the need for increased enforcement at Lake Tulloch for a number of reasons, because it is a very popular destination for recreation. And I think there were some ideas that came forward that Supervisor Rodeford, weren't you meeting with some folks from Calaveras County to look at some solutions for the law enforcement?
Yeah. There's several things that are going on at Lake Tulloch right now. It's a problem. It is a tremendously oversubscribed lake. It has one public access point, and it is at probably the most remote point on that lake. Well, it has several public access points, but only one legal public access point. So we're trying to deal with a myriad of issues there that don't bear specifically on this, that are going to impact law enforcement. We're also looking at some options for some funding options, if you will, for
So I want to be
law
clear,
enforcement.
on this letter, we were looking at a very shallow finger to protect a couple of species that were in the area, and that closure point really is not advantageous to a lot of motorized activity, and that's why we put the line there, so that we could keep that 5-mile-an-hour speed in there for individuals that were legally going in to do some fishing and very low motor activity.
Yeah, this particular finger, I don't see as being something that a whole lot of people are going to want to violate an ordinance to go into. So I don't think, I mean, I'll yield to the sheriff when he comes back when we consider the ordinance, but I don't see that this particular piece of the Lake Tulloch pie is going to be a real increase in his workload. There are some other things that I need to talk to the sheriff about with regard to Lake Tulloch, but this isn't one of them.
Daniel?
I should mention, we did have a member of the Sheriff's Office, Eric Gerhardt, came to our committee and addressed us at that time. Didn't feel it would be that much more, but still we need to coordinate it between the two counties.
Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries 5-0. Item 12.
Consideration of approving correspondence on the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, draft environmental impact report, environmental impact statement, and the implementation agreement.
Thank you.
Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. Before we have another letter to comment on the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, this time we have what's called an implementation agreement, which was released after or just prior to your last letter that the Board of Supervisors sent out commenting on we'll call the BDCP, the EIR, EIS. The comments are due on July 29th, so this is your last opportunity to provide comments. The implementation agreement, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. When you say implementation, how are things actually going to happen on the ground? Well, it was actually an agreement between agencies from the state of California, Department of Water Resources, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, State Water Project, Central Valley Project Water, contract water agencies. Interesting, though, that although it does include the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, it does not include Department of the Bureau of Reclamation, which, of course, is New Melones. They're not part of this agreement. I thought that was interesting. They were excluded. So the BDCP is already 40,000 pages. The implementation agreement was almost 100 pages, so it wasn't a significant amount of additional information they added to solve some of the puzzles, so we know exactly how much water, where is the water coming from, and when might it all occur. What I'm saying is it didn't give us any more answers. We still have the threat of taking of Tuolumne County water and all other Sierra water. The price tag is still right now approximately $25 billion, but as we know, as time goes on, construction costs are increasing by the day. Healthy forest practices is still something that we are encouraging in this letter. Jerry Cadigan, once again, super water researcher and writer, provided you with a draft letter for your consideration. He is here to provide any comments or additional information.
Thank you, Jerry. I think it's a pretty good letter. I do have a couple of comments or edits on it. First of all, in the failure to consider improved forestry management practices as an alternative, in the third paragraph, we believe that a thorough analysis of the potential, not a through analysis, a minor edit. A slightly more substantial edit in the last sentence in the letter where it says at that point it would appear that the State Water Resources Control Board would exercise its considerable authority. I would like to change that to would have no alternative but to exercise its considerable authority.
Okay.
I think that kind of strengthens it, but it also makes the State Water Resources Control Board less of a bad guy and the Bay Delta Conservation Plan more of the bad guy.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? I got a question. This is a pretty politically charged issue, and with the drought, even more so. My expectation is at some point there's probably going to be some litigation going on with this. Is there any clue as to how those different parties are currently forming? Jerry may be able to answer this as well, but I just feel like that's the direction it's going to head. Carl, you may know too.
I think the line forms somewhere in Sacramento, and the end of it is somewhere in Iowa right now to sue this thing. So, yeah, it's going to get sued a lot.
And timeline for that, is there any expectation, or are there deadlines? I'm just curious.
There's a comment deadline, and they'll have to go through the regular EIS process. It'll eventually get to the point where they can take a stand and go to court, and I'm not sure what that is. I do receive Mr. Cadigan's clippings that include all the water information, and like Supervisor Rutherford said, there are many people who are ready to fight this. So I don't know when.
Okay, that's fine. Public comment?
After August 18th, I won't limp up here. I now have a date certain for a new hip. I can't give you a precise timeline, but as Daniel indicated, once the EIR is certified, the usual procedure, both under CEQA and NEPA, I can assure you, it's no secret, they are lined up. And most of the serious work that's gone on in commenting on the plan is basically, you all know how this game works, what have you. It's
Building up their
laying
case.
groundwork. And a couple of additional comments is that the revised letter had two new things. That one is talking about storage, and I kind of carefully worded that, even though my fingerprints aren't on this when it goes out, what have you, because I've got different views on storage. But the forester thing, I got a couple of calls from people who are really deep into doing the commenting, and they were very impressed with the forestry issue. We never thought of that. We never thought of that. And these are big hitters. I said, and I shared this letter with two people before it came to you, or before today, actually. And I got a call from a guy who's participated in writing 200 pages worth of comments, and he said, we're going to supplement the comments from the environmental community. So you are to be commended for that. Two other comments, one other comment, is that I not cautioned, I just pointed out, as the chair said, it's politically charged. You now are in pretty good company. San Joaquin County, and you've probably seen this in the newspapers, at least those of you who get my credit, San Joaquin County has come out very strongly, and I think one media account called it a scathing report, comment letter on the BDCP. Solano County, I don't know whether they've submitted theirs yet. They're going to. One of the counties way up north has submitted, either Shasta or Trinity, and I should have checked. There are probably, at this point now, somewhere in the neighborhood of 8, 9, 10 counties who either have or will be putting comments in. So you're not totally alone in this. And if there's any retribution, what have you, I think that risk, I think, is somewhat minimized. So, and I think that was the only other question. I think that was it.
Carl?
Yeah, I would encourage this as a discussion item at the next RCRC meeting as well.
I can do that. I assume this doesn't show carbon copies to RCRC, but should. And I think it should also go to obviously our legislative representatives.
Okay. Any other public comment? Bring it back for action.
I move to approve the letter as amended.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Hand vote. Thank you. Could the clerk please read item 13?
Consideration of approving plan specifications and bid book for contract 1572 Jamestown Sidewalk Project and issuing a call for bids due on August 14, 2014 at 2 p.m.
Good morning, members of the board, Chairman. I'm Tanya Allen, Supervising Engineer with the CRA. Jamestown's community plan proposed pedestrian sidewalks along Saco, Willow, and 9th Street. Engineering completed the preliminary engineering and has environmental clearance with a categoric exclusion with NEPA and a notice of exemption with CEQA. During the design, staff worked with the promotion club to include a walk of fame with the construction of this project, which will inlay medallions to represent movies that were filmed in Tuolumne County, and it will connect the downtown area of Jamestown to Railtown by Saco Street and 9th Street. Engineering has prepared these plans, specifications, and bid book for the Jamestown Sidewalks project. The work in general will consist of constructing a sidewalk, curb, and gutter on Willow Street from Main to 5th, on Saco Street from Main to Preston Lane, and on 9th Street from Saco Street to Sierra Avenue. The project will include 2 pedestrian, activated flashing crosswalks, bus turnouts, and bus shelters on Fifth Avenue and Willow Street, and at Seco Street at Preston Lane. It is recommended that your board approve the plan, specifications, and bid book for the contract 1572, known as the Jamestown Sidewalks Project, and issue a call for bids due on August 14th at 2 p.m. based on the following findings. The Jamestown Sidewalks Project is consistent with Tuolumne County General Plan and the Jamestown Community Plan, and the proposed Jamestown Sidewalk Project is categorically exempt from under the review of CEQA. Question?
Just one question on the Star of Fame. What is the cost on that?
The Walk of
For
Fame.
an individual if they wanted to contribute?
I have Blossom here, who is a project manager, who can give you those fine details.
Okay.
The Jamestown Promotion Club sold the medallions, and I believe they were $1,000
Okay,
apiece.
thank you.
And I believe they're sold out.
They are. Phase 1 is sold. I know that they intend to sell medallions in the future, but I don't know at what time.
Great. Just one other comment. I know Mr. York did a lot of work in negotiating some right-of-ways and walkways there in Jamestown, so good job, Duke. I know you had some difficult ones.
Oh,
I just, for the benefit of the public, can you explain real quickly why it is CEQA exempt?
I'm going to leave that to our environmental coordinator, Bevshin.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Bev Shane, environmental coordinator for the County of Tuolumne. The reason this project is categorically exempt from CEQA is because all of the work is being done in an area that's already disturbed. A cultural resource study was prepared and determined that no cultural resources would be impacted, so therefore none of the exemptions to the exemptions applied, and your board can go ahead and adopt the categorical exemption.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo the thanks to Mr. York for the work that he did. And I would like to really give a big pat on the back to the Jamestown Promotion Club for seizing an opportunity to basically improve a project that I think will benefit tourism in Jamestown by doing a fundraiser. And I think this is a good thing for Jamestown. I think it's a good thing for certainly for District 5, and I think it's a good thing for Tuolumne County.
I'll just say something quick, too. I'm excited about this one. I think this is a great project. I want to see more and more of this type of stuff, and I'm always excited about infrastructure. So, good job. So, let's go to public comment. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move on staff recommendation.
Second?
Okay, motion from Rotifer, second from Hamvelt. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Hopefully we get some good bids. All right, 14.
Consideration of approving a contract with George Reed, Inc. to perform work as shown in the plans and specifications and bid book for number 1658 Woodham Carnes Road reconstruction.
Tanya Allen, supervising engineer with the CRA. Your board recognized one-time funds for the proposed 2013 road improvement list. We have already constructed your first priority on Limekiln Road, and this is your second priority, which is on Woodham Carn Road. The TCTC has allocated $482,000 of RSTP, or Regional Surface Transportation Funds, for this project, and staff has prepared the plan, specifications, and bid book for the reconstruction project, and the notice to bidders was advertised on May 20th, and we have received one bid on July 19th. That bid was from George Reed out of Modesto in the amount of $472,581. That bid is within 10% of the engineer's probable cost and within budget. Construction is anticipated in August, and it is recommended that your board execute a contract in the amount of $472,581.50 with George Reed to perform the work as shown on the plans and bid book for the contract 1658, known as the Woodham Carn Road Reconstruction Project.
Questions? Public comment? I'll bring it back, and I would request that Supervisor Gray make a motion, since this was his district, and I'm going to second it.
I'd be happy to, and I
I've
want to
taken it
thank
over.
staff for all the hard work. And we do have a number of roads out there that are equally as bad that I hope in the future we can work towards fixing. But this is a real bad road, so I'd be happy to move that we accept approved plans for the contract with George Reed in the amount of $472,581.50. Thank you.
And I'm going to second that. Any other discussion? Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't want to hear any more out of you on Woodham Carn.
It's not me. All right. Clerk, please read 15.
Consideration of approving standard agreement for professional services with MGE Engineering, Inc. for design service associated with the Jacksonville Road Crossing Tuolumne River Bridge Rehabilitation Project.
Tanya Allen, CRA. Jacksonville Road Bridge crossing the Tuolumne River has a sufficiency rating of 62.1 and is classified as structurally deficient. Staff has circulated a request for proposals, and MGE was selected to perform the structural analysis of the bridge. This contract will be in 2 phases. Phase 1, MGE will perform a structural analysis of the bridge, coring and testing of the bridge deck, and if it is necessary, will perform an in-depth condition inspection of the bridge. MGE will then provide recommendations with the construction cost estimates for Phase 2 of the project, which would include the completion of the plan, specification of the project, and the bidding construction support. This is due to we don't know what's going on. We're doing our first investigation, and then we'll develop the scope for the Phase 2. So it is recommended that you enter into a standard agreement with professional services with MGE for design services associated with Jacksonville Road Crossing Tuolumne River Bridge Rehabilitation Project in the amount not to exceed $106,882 just for Phase 1, and have the chair sign the agreement.
Questions?
Just a question. This, we're doing another bridge, the Highway 120 bridge, and it seems like a lot of bridges constructed in that area have problems with their decking. Mr. York, could you just kind of expand on that a little bit?
The deck that you're talking about is suffering from spalling, and you're right, both of them are suffering from that. Some of the joints, too, have been problematic, particularly on our Jacksonville Bridge. And I think it's really indicative of the age in which they were installed. They just seem to wear out then. They were put in built at the same time by the same contractor under the project for Lake Don Pedro. So whether that issue will go away with any new bridges, I would certainly hope so. And we'll see what our firm shows in terms of the fix. It doesn't have a curve on it, so hopefully it won't be as bad.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to make a motion to...
Can I comment first? I just think it's important, when I first read it, and then you included it in the briefing document, but important for the public to know that the work you have scheduled here or planning for on this bridge will not coincide with the bridge on 120 because of the detour plans, et cetera.
Correct.
That will not happen. I think it's important the public know that.
Yes, we're very sensitive to other agencies' construction projects and work with coordination with them to make sure that we don't conflict.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the contract with MGE Engineering in the amount of $106,882 for Phase 1 and authorize the chair to sign the agreement.
A second? Okay, is there any public comment? Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will recess as the Board of Supervisors, reconvene as the Behavioral Health Board of Directors, Housing, Inc. Board of Directors. Could the clerk please read 16?
Consideration of approving the sales contract and certification of acceptance to purchase the Cabrini House located at 18370 Railbed Road in Jamestown.
Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Steve Boyack from the Human Services Agency. Mr. Chairman, with your board's indulgence, I would like to take you through the history of several board actions and quite a bit of staff energy to get us to this point today. It's been a year and a half since Kingsview let the county know of its intent to sell Cabrini House. And with that, Cabrini House is a 5-bedroom residence located in Jamestown on 1.5 acres. It was originally developed in 1980 to provide safe and affordable housing for folks with developmental disabilities. Since 2010, Cabrini has continued to house persons with severe mental illness through the Behavioral Health Supportive Housing Program under a joint agreement between Kingsview and the county. Cabrini House has assisted a multitude of individuals to continue residing in this county outside of out-of-county placements. With that, it has operated successfully with behavioral health in its consumer housing model for many, many years. Should the board choose to approve the sales agreement today, up to 5 behavioral health consumers will remain in Cabrini House, preventing the utilization of more costly out-of-county placements. Kingsview notified the county of its intent to sell Cabrini House in March of 2013. Through a series of meetings with your board has made known its desire to purchase Cabrini House and has directed staff to move forward with a series of inspections, which culminated with an appraisal conducted in June of 2013. Cabrini House was originally appraised in June of 2013 at $280,000. At the time of the appraisal, the deck was in poor shape and the roof was in need of replacement. Shortly after the appraisal, Kingsview did replace the roof, and the staff was directed to then negotiate a sales price for Cabrini House. We did so, and Kingsview agreed to sell the property to the county for $266,000, and if acquired, the county will be required to carry out the deck repairs that remain. Your board took action in April of this year to update the Behavioral Health 2013-14 MHSA annual plan to include a housing project for the purpose of requesting unspent community service and support funds to be assigned and transferred for the purpose and the acquisition of Cabrini House. Your Board of Supervisors took action in the last meeting of June to approve the proposed fiscal year 14-15 budget to include this funding for the purchase of Cabrini House in its own separate cost center under the behavioral health umbrella. The county is required, pursuant to the government code, to publish a notice of intent of your board of directors to make acquisition of this property in a newspaper of general circulation. In June, your board directed staff to do just that, and the publication occurred in the Union Democrat on June 25th, July 2nd, and June 10th of 2014. The county is also required, pursuant to the government code and Tuolumne County Resolution 89-11, to determine whether or not the acquisition of this subject property is consistent with the county's general plan. On June 12th, our Community Resources Agency Director, Bev Shane, made the required determination and found the acquisition of Cabrini House is consistent with the county's general plan. In addition to that, Ms. Shane also found that the acquisition of Cabrini House is statutorily exempt from review under the California Environmental Quality Act. And a copy of Ms. Shane's determinations and findings are attached to the staff report. In September of 2010, your board approved the formation of a nonprofit corporation having the name of the Tuolumne County Behavioral Housing Incorporated, with the specific purpose to own and manage Tuolumne County's MHSA housing projects, which include your Washington Street housing project and, if acquired today, the Cabrini housing project. The entity holds title to the properties and manages the real estate component for the MHSA housing development project. Support services are provided by behavioral health staff and would do so similar to how behavioral health supports the Washington Street housing project, and would have to do so under a memorandum of understanding with your board of directors today. It is recommended that your board find the acquisition of Cabrini House has been determined to be consistent with the county's general plan in accordance with the Government Code and Resolution 89-11, and that the acquisition is statutorily exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15326 of the state CEQA guidelines. It is further recommended that your board of Directors of the Behavioral Health Housing Incorporated approve the sales contract and certificate of acceptance to purchase Cabrini House, located at 18370 Railbed Road in Jamestown, for $266,000 from Kingsview Incorporated for the Behavioral Health Housing Supportive Housing Program. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Just a comment, it's a real long journey to get to where we are today. And I want to commend staff for their hard work and diligence in the negotiation process. I think you guys did a real good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Boyack, I have one question that Supervisor Brennan pointed out to me. The recommendation looks like you want the Board of Supervisors to make the finding regarding this being consistent with the general plan, and then you want the Board of Directors of the Behavioral Health Housing Incorporated to approve the sales contract. Is that accurate?
The ownership and fee must be taken under control by the Board of Directors of our 501c3. If the Board of Supervisors needs to take action on the environmental piece of it, then I guess the Board of Supervisors must do so. That was simply a mistake on my part.
That's a simple fix. I think then we can have the Board Supervisors make the one finding, and then the Housing Incorporated make the separate finding.
Perfect.
So do we need to have a motion for since right now we're convened as the Behavioral Health Housing Board, make that finding, get a motion for that, and then adjourn as this and go back as a board?
Yes, that'll work.
Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to move on staff recommendations.
Okay.
I second.
Any public comment? Call for the question.
For the behavioral health.
Yeah.
We got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Okay. We will now recess as the Behavioral Health Housing Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. And let's continue item 16.
Mr. Chairman, I would be glad to move that we find that the purchase of the Cabrini House is consistent with the general plan in accordance with the California Government Code, Resolution 8911, and that it meets the criteria for statutorily exempt from review under CEQA pursuant to Section 15326 of the state CEQA guidelines.
A second.
I think it's Rutherford and Handel beat you to it. Is there any public comment? I'll just make one quick comment, which you said staff did a good job on this. Just to clarify for public's benefit, these are grant funds, right? State, or
MHSA is...
Or they're not grant, but they're state funds.
Part of Proposition 63 that came about in 2004, which provides support funding, expansion support funding to expand behavioral health programs under the county behavioral health umbrella.
So this helps us meet our requirements to do that, and it saves us money from doing
Yes.
costly
Whenever we can keep
outside
people,
placements.
whenever we keep folks in the county without the need for outside of county placement, it helps all the way around.
Totally. That's a good thing. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. 5-0.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Let's do reports, and then we'll take a quick break and go to our closed session. And I'll start with Ms. Brennan.
Reports.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Alicia.
Okay, on July 3rd, we had an Area 12 Agency on Aging meeting, approved their budget, upcoming budget, and they too have a lot of difficulties with meeting their needs, but they're doing a good job pulling it all together. On the 9th, we had a SOPA meeting with the Stanislaus Forest Supervisor, Susan Skalski. Again, it was pointed out that the majority of the proposed projects have been put on hold due to the rimfire salvage sale and trying to get all of that EA work complete. There was some discussion about the MOU with Supervisor Skalski retiring September 1st. We wanted to be sure that we got that MOU in place and codified, if you will, prior to that. And so I know there will be some effort on behalf of Mr. Pedro and Supervisor Skalski to make sure that happens. And then on the 14th, I attended the Agency on Aging meeting. And I would just like to encourage anyone that is interested in senior issues in the county. That's a great commission, and they are looking for commissioners. They have 3 seats available. If you are interested in those senior issues, I would encourage you to attend their meetings and possibly get involved. They do a great job. They organize a lot of activities for our seniors. They advocate on behalf of seniors in our community, and it's work that's really worthwhile. And that's my report.
All right, on July 9th, attended the TCTC meeting, and we approved some route changes that I think are going to benefit the riders greatly. We also approved to send a letter to Walmart concerning a bus stop there in the Walmart area. It's a route that people use probably more than any other route that we have, and there's no coverage for during rainy days or hot days, so hopefully we can work with Walmart and develop some sort of shelter in that area. On the 10th, attended the Gateway Partners meeting in Yosemite, and I know people think that's bad duty, but we don't get outside, but there is a great lunch. We did have presentations there from different economic development organizations, I believe at Mono County, Madera, Tuolumne County, and Mariposa. Mr. Cope did a good presentation, and after the meeting I had a number of people come up to me and state how far ahead they thought Tuolumne County was as far as on the economic development scene. So I think we are doing good. On the 11th, I did attend the Drought Task Force meeting. We've already had some conversation on that. Also had the Tuolumne County Economic Development Authority meeting. Mr. Cope gave us an update on the Innovation Lab. Hopefully it'll be open in August. I think it's important to note that we're probably the only rural county in the United States that's going to have something like this, and looking forward to to getting it online, and I think some of the supervisors have had a brief tour of it, and on the opening day, I guess we all will get to go there. On the 12th, I participated last Saturday in the badge pinning for our volunteer firefighters. We have 11 new volunteers that were pinned that day. As Chief White expressed, volunteers are the backbone to the fire department, and it's important that we really recognize them. They do go through a tremendous amount of training to help us, and basically for free. So when you see that volunteer out there, please thank them. On the 14th, along with Supervisor Brennan, I attended the Commission on Aging. I'm going to put my plug in for District 4. There are 3 vacancies. If you want to belong to a good organization that works for the Board of Supervisors and does a great job in the community, please go to their webpage and fill out an application. They need the help. That's my report.
Thank you. County Council?
Thanks. The last couple of weeks, Chris Schmidt and I spent a lot of time working on issues related to ATCA and attended a couple of JPA board meetings. And then last week, Mr. Pedro and I traveled to Nevada County to meet with their CEO and their county council. It was a really good, productive meeting. Thank you.
Clerk? Burford?
Okay. On Wednesday the 2nd, I very happily took delivery of my iPad, and now having used it in a board meeting, I want to thank the IT department and our clerk of the board, Alicia, for helping me get all set up on it. It's great. I also attended on the 2nd, and then also yesterday with our county council and Supervisor Hanvelt, a couple of ATCA JPA board meetings dealing with some personnel and contract issues. And then on Thursday the 3rd, I met with the district ranger for Columbia State Park District, the district that Columbia State Park is in, Greg Martin, and a local citizen and past president of the Columbia Area Advisory Council. We're working through an update to the MOU. And then on Friday, I attended the greatest little parade, 4th of July parade, along with Supervisor Hanvelt again, in Columbia. And it was a wonderful event. Supervisor Hanvelt regaled everybody with historical minutia relating to the Declaration of Independence, and fun was had by all. And I slopped beans, so it was a good one. On Saturday the 5th, I attended the annual Shaw's Flat Community Picnic up at Mount Brow. And for those of you that haven't been wine tasting at Mount Brow, they're still in business and they're still making great wine. So head on up there and partake of the local fare. On Friday the 11th in the evening, I attended a wine pairings party at Black Oak Casino with Inner Sanctum Cellars. It was a great event. Black Oak, incredible food, just absolutely incredible food. And that's pretty much my report.
Supervisor Handel.
Thank you. Well, you heard about the ATCA meetings on July 2nd, and again yesterday. I attended the GAC on July 7th, though I left out the Columbia Parade where I expounded historical minutia, but it happened to be associated with the history of our country, so I don't call it minutia. But anytime you'd like a dissertation on some of the great historical events that happened, let me know. It was fun. It is always fun. We need to know more about our history. On July 10th, I went to a Forest Service meeting at McClellan in Sacramento. It's the U.S. Forest Service fire training facility. For some reason, everybody from the Stanislaus National Forest that had any interest in reforestation was there, and we all traveled largely from Tuolumne County, which didn't make a lot of sense, but nevertheless we were there. They were giving us, it was very interesting presentations they gave us on forest succession, trees, and how they grow, and there's some very interesting data which I've shared some with Ms. Shane, and trying to get a conference call so we can get some more of that explained. But some of the very interesting data from a scientific point of view is how trees and different species have moved, for instance, particularly within the Sierra foothills in our county. It seems like some trees are encroaching from the valley, and some are encroaching from upland, and some appear to be getting squeezed out, and it's a very interesting scientific data, and I found it fascinating, but we nerds like that stuff. Anyway, so we did that, and I think the important part is that they're looking at restoring our forest, and the plan is that there will be another meeting on forest plans, how to reforestation plans, and it'll be on the 18th and 19th of August. I intend to be at the 18th. Unfortunately, the 19th is another Board of Supervisors meeting, which makes it difficult to be there, but it's important we participate in these things. I went to and saw one of the SRT shows last Friday night. SRT is a great asset to our community. They just do a great job. And at the invitation, on Saturday, at the invitation of Supervisor Woodrow from Alpine County, I attended and did hospitality at Hermit Valley for the Markeyville Death Ride. 3,500 riders do that, and they pay a lot of money to do that, and they abuse themselves. That's just beyond belief. Yesterday, I met with the executive director of ATCA, and then we had the ATCA special JPA meeting in Amador County, and then last night I attended the Farm Bureau meeting, and that's my report.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, glad to be back after a couple weeks off with vacation. Had a lot of good time hugging my grandbaby and doing some history detective work on my grandfather and his gold mining adventures. But back in the saddle. And anyway, just a couple things I was going to touch on. One, Supervisor Gray mentioned the Innovation Lab. Well, your next two meetings, unless there's objection, we'd like to do two fun things. On the August 5th meeting, noontime, we would leave here, take you over to the Innovation Lab where we can do a ribbon cutting, because it really is a unique special event, and we'd like to do that. And then on your August 19 meeting, we'd like to do the same thing, break at lunch, and go over to the main library in Greenlee Road, where we've been doing a lot of renovations over there, much of which has also been funded by your supporters of the library, the Friends of the Library. So we'd like to do those things. For those that weren't aware, we also did receive over $500,000 in grant funds, grant awards to support our fire volunteer program, which is wonderful. That'll be a multi-year grant, and that will definitely give that program a shot in the arm. And just as an anecdotal thing, I looked at my TUD water bill last night, and while you're never happy with the amount, when I looked at the conservation, we had actually achieved 83% reduction, because we've made changes both inside in fixtures and our uses, and radical changes, lawns, and changes what we're doing with our landscaping. And we're going to take it as a moment to kind of redo some of our yard for the long run, which I think a lot of folks would do well. It would help themselves and help the county if they would look at that outdoor use in particular. But pretty pleased about that, 83% reduction.
Wonderful. Okay, that wraps up reports. At this time, we're going to let's read our closed sessions, then we'll take a quick break before we head in. So could the clerk please read those?
Closed session, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, authority, government code section 549569D1. In Ray, Lehman Brothers Securities and Employee Retirement Income Securities Act, ERISA, litigation, United States District Court, Southern District of New York, case number 09MD2017LAK. Conference with real property negotiators, price and terms, Government Code Section 549568, negotiators Craig Pedro and Maureen Frank, regarding approximately 7 acres of APN 5657053-223, commonly known as the Law and Justice property. Conference with real property negotiators, price and terms, Craig Pedro and Daniel Richardson, Authority Government Code Section 54956.8, several parcels located in Jamestown Mine, APN 58227 through 30 through 35, 56001 through 03, and 59080-42. And the last one is conference with labor negotiators, Craig Pedro and Fremd, Authority Government Code Section 54957.6, and it's all bargaining units. That's conference with labor negotiators.
Thank you. Do we expect to report anything? Is there any public comment on the closed sessions? If not, we will recess for 10 minutes and then reconvene in closed session. We're going to do items 1 and 2 on our 130, and I get to recuse myself on both of these due to Government Code Section 87100. So with that, I'm going to hand over the gavel to Supervisor Gray, and I'll be...
Okay, would the clerk please read our 130 appointments?
Public hearing to consider the selection of the Community Development Block Grant projects for the 2015 grant cycle and direct staff to initiate a request for proposal if the 2014 CDBG funding application is unsuccessful.
Okay, staff report.
Terry Cox, Cox Consulting. I would like to mention that we do have our usual sign-in sheet for everybody that is attending this public hearing, and written comments regarding the county's Community Development Block Grant Program can be addressed to the County Administrative Office.
Okay, thank you.
Now, we hope that with this public hearing, we're just going to go through the motions, because if your 2014 application was funded, you will not be eligible to apply in 2015. However, we're not going to know, probably for another month, maybe a little longer than that, what happened with that application. So, regardless of that, we go ahead and do the initiating process, which is this public hearing where we describe the program and then take comments from the public regarding possible projects.
Okay, thank you. Council, do I open the public hearing now or after staff report? Okay, I'll open the public hearing.
Okay. So just to briefly review the program, the State Department of Housing and Community Development is the one that issues the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, program. The eligible activities are housing, public works, community facilities, public services, small business revolving loan funds, then there's also large economic development projects and planning grants. Now, the only one of those that I just mentioned that would not be in the notice of funding availability that will be issued next January is the large economic development projects, the over-the-counter projects like the Rush Creek one. So that one is not included, but everything else is. Now, of those, you will be eligible to apply for up to 3 activities total. We think that the cap is still likely to be $2 million. Last year they were talking about dropping it and then ultimately decided not to, and I expect it will be the same for this upcoming issue in 2015. The non-competitive set-aside that we used to use over and over again for public services like Meals on Wheels has been eliminated. However, you can apply for planning grants up to 2, maximum of $100,000, and if you get at least one other activity funded that is competitive, then the planning grant will also be funded. Now, they're probably going to make a few changes to the notice of funding availability. We won't know about it probably till January at the point at which they issue the NOFA. So there could be some alterations to this, but the way it looks now is that the program will be basically the same as what they had last year. And you do have a funding chart, I think, in your packet that has the breakdown of the maximum amount that you can request per activity, and it does vary from one activity to the other. For Public Works, it's $1.5 million. For a housing program, it would be $600,000. For community facilities, it's $1.5 million. Public services, it's $500,000. The small business revolving loan fund is $500,000, and if you do sort of combinations of some of these, then you can bump it up to $1 million. But overall, it's $2 million per jurisdiction. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from the board? Okay, now we'll take public comments on the 2015 CDBG grant applications.
Yes, I'm sure that both, all of you know us. This is Dick and myself, Hazel Mitchell, and we are the co-founders of the Give Someone a Chance. And we are looking to have, to apply for CDGB money for the 2015. You have to excuse me, my brain doesn't always function right now. I'm ready for pacemaker. Anyway, and that's true. Anyway, so we would like to say that we want to apply for funding for public facility activities to build a portion of or all of our homeless shelter. Do you have any question?
No, I think most of our, I don't have any questions, but I think you've met probably with most of us already.
Not individually, but I know all of you.
I believe I met with Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
Yes. So I do have an understanding of what you're trying to do. Any other board questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on the 2015 CDBG grant applications? Okay, seeing no one, I do have a question. It says direct staff to initiate a request for proposal for the 2014 CDBG funding application is successful. So what action would you exactly like us to take there?
The board could direct staff to initiate the RFP for projects if it turns out that your last spring's application failed. Otherwise, we wouldn't bring anything back.
Okay.
And you wouldn't start that process until you know for sure.
That's right, because we should know, we're hoping we'll know in a month or a month and a half, and that's about the time that we would normally initiate the process.
Supervisor Hadwell?
Well, that was kind of my question, because I was sitting here and I got the impression you wanted to start the activity, but you said we'd know about 2014 in August. Why don't we wait till we find out? But that's what you're saying. If we find out in the negative, you'll start the process. If we don't, if we get the 2014, we're not going to get the 2015, so there's no point. So now I understand. Okay.
All right. I'm going to close the public hearing. So what I would request would be a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we direct staff to begin preparing an RFP for the possible event that our 2013-14 CDBG block grant is not approved.
Second?
Second.
First and second, any public comment?
Does that meet your needs?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. Would the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Public hearing to consider the submission of the CDBG Annual Guarantee Performance Report for grants for the Enterprise Fund, the Jamestown Sewer Project, Housing stabilization, homeless services, and Meals on Wheels, and the county program income revolving loan fund and program income waiver.
Okay, staff report?
The grantee performance reports are demographic reports, and any jurisdiction that has an open grant or a revolving loan fund is required to do one of these each year. So you have two open grants, the ones that were mentioned there, the Jamestown 2012 grant, that was the Jamestown Sewer Project. It also had housing stabilization and homeless services that are administered by the Amador-Tuolumne Community Action Agency. And then it had the Meals on Wheels services that runs through Area 12 and Sierra Senior Providers. So the beneficiaries during the last fiscal year for the Jamestown Sewer Project is basically the whole district, 1,138 persons. For the Housing Stabilization Program, it was 750 persons. Homeless Services was 252, and Meals on Wheels was 178. The Enterprise Fund had no activity in it, either for the Small Business Revolving Loan Fund or the Micro Enterprise Fund. And the Program Income Waiver that's part of your Program Income Reuse Fund for Homeless Services had 253 beneficiaries. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about those.
Any board questions concerning the report? Any public comment concerning the report? Pardon? Okay, it is a public hearing. It is open. So any public comment on the report? Okay, seeing none, I'll be looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'd like to say good job on part of staff.
Close
The
public
reports were
hearing.
clear, and I would like to move approval of the reports.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any more public comment? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Supervisor Royce?
Okay. All right, would the clerk please read, I'm thinking it's number 3.
Public hearing to consider Donahue Special Ordinance amending Section 1706020 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Bev Shane, Community Resources Director. Paula Donahue owns a 5,000 square foot parcel that's located at 26010 Long Barn Road in Long Barn. The property is currently designated by the general plan as special commercial. Ms. Donahue is asking for your support today to rezone her property from single-family residential to special commercial, which will make it consistent with the general plan land use designation. Ms. Donahue is seeking this rezoning at this time in order for her to expand her home. A home is a permitted use in the special commercial zoning district, and she would like to go ahead and pursue her project with your support. I should mention the Tuolumne County Plan Commission considered this project at a public hearing on July 2nd, and after hearing from the applicant and hearing no opposition, has recommended approval of this zone change by unanimous vote.
Questions?
I just got one. You said that the reason that she wants to have it rezoned is so she can expand her home. Is there something prohibiting her from expanding the home with the current zoning?
The setbacks. The residential zoning district has rear setbacks. The commercial zoning does not.
Thank you for illuminating that for me.
Okay. So, I don't see any questions, so I believe this is a public hearing. Oh, we do have one. Supervisor Handball.
Ms. Shane, the pictures look like she already started. Is this a code compliance correction?
No, it is not. She is applying for this rezoning to expand on the rear of the house. She's also doing work on the front, which she does
okay.
have permits to do, but she can't expand in the rear until she gets the rezoning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So it's a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody that would like to speak in favor of the project may come forward. Anybody that would like to speak against the project may come forward, or anybody that would like to speak neutrally may come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Bring it back to the board. This is my district, and I will make a motion to approve the zone change based on, approve zone change RZ 14007 based on findings consistent with the general plan, in accordance with the county ordinance code, that it's suited for the uses permitted under the proposed zoning district, and the potential environmental impacts of the proposed project were addressed in a previously prepared environmental document. Consequently, no additional review under CEQA is required.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. And no, we didn't. My vice chair forgot to do that. Just kidding.
I thought maybe the chairman would do it before he left us.
I should have, and I'll take responsibility for that. I just had to tease you. So we came back from closed session, which was before our lunch, and there's nothing to report. Is that it? Oh, right. So we need to finish item 10.
Want me to reread it?
Yep.
Consideration of approving correspondence to rural county representatives of California encouraging action on the independent science and report of the Hergers-Feinstein-Quincy Library Group Forest Recovery Act.
Okay. Staff report.
All right, Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. We met and we amended the letter. According to, you can see you have a red-lined copy here with some changes that Supervisor Hamboldt and I made. You can see in the first paragraph, we added fuel. Let me just read some of these. And the fuel breaks were not met due to unnecessarily lengthy litigations and inefficient staff processes. In the third paragraph, we added some language saying professional foresters generally agree that controlled burns contribute to a healthy forest, but the forest has to be in a suitable condition to accept this treatment mechanism. And then this next sentence actually combined with the following paragraph. The Quincy Library project's goals and processes had merit. And then in that same paragraph, we say the same legal arguments are made on virtually every project. We need universally accepted environmental standards and solutions based on the best science available that can be applied generically. So we can apply it multiple times. And then the final paragraph, we added after the sentence saying unnecessary loss of hundreds of thousands of acres of forest to wildfires is unproductive. This is a public safety issue, an environmental disaster from an air quality perspective, a negative impact on native species of every kind, an immense and unnecessary financial drain, and ultimately a negative economic impact to the local area. Processes should be changed and resources allocated to solve the real problem.
Perfect.
The changes.
Questions? All right. Go to public comment. Bring it back to the board.
Move to approve the letter as amended.
A second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, and with that, I believe our meeting would be adjourned.
Our business is finished here.